All right, so let's continue where we left off yesterday. So I'm going to click on the color background first, and then I'm going to zoom in on the trees, and then I'm going to grab the quick selection tool, and I'm going to start to select the trees. And we're going to use the same technique. If you want to turn the color of the sky off, if that helps you, you can. You can just click on the little eye on that layer. All right, and so I at least want to get, the parts that I want included in the trees. So just get as much of it as I can. All right, so let's just say that's good. All right, so remember that with the quick selection tool, we're going to click select and mask. We're going to make sure that the view is on black and white. We're going to check smart radius, and then we're going to increase that radius, and you're going to start to see parts of the tree. And again, you could increase it all the way up, or you could lower it until you see fit. I used the contrast yesterday, which really helped getting rid of the ground there. Okay, so maybe I'm going to go with that option there. So I'll say okay. And so now I just need to use the lasso tool here to subtract these areas out that I don't want included. And I think I'm going to be happy with everything else and how it looks here. I'll make adjustments as I add the color. So I'm going to turn the blue back on, and then I'm going to go to layer, new adjustment layer, and I'm going to go to curves again. Now notice I am on the color layer still, even though I turned the sky back on. I'm going to call this trees. And I'm actually going to color these green, even though some people in the past have said, well, you do those brown, since they're definitely just branches and not necessarily leafy. So you could try to do that if you want, but I'm going to stick with green today. So let's see. To make the trees green, I'm going to choose cyan first. Now, again, if you didn't know, how to do it. So here we can start to add like that brown color by dragging it down and to the right. We could move that spot and drag it up into the left, and you can start to see how you start to add the green. So the difference between the brown and the green. So it's up to you what color you want to go with. So there's more of a browny color again. Okay, but I'm going to go with a greenish color. So I'm going to go there for now. And then I'm going to combine that cyan with yellow. And once again, if I didn't know what to do, I could just kind of move it around until I get the color that I want. And so you can see by dragging up to the left, that's how you really get the color you want. So let's leave it there. And I'm going to say that that's good. Now I can go back and I can make some adjustments. So I can click on my mask, and with black, I can remove that from the ground there that's being added. I can go back to the sky, and I can remove some of that area that I think is too blue. If I want to kind of make this a little bit more opaque, so I'm not getting rid of all the blue that should be in there, I could do that. The more you go over an area, the more you're applying. So if it's not removing, you just keep clicking on that area until you get it where you want it to. All right, and so maybe then I want to bump that up, and I want to start to do this area up here. Maybe I don't like how blue this looks. I can start to get rid of that area. I do have to be careful though, because notice I just got rid of that area there. Okay, so you can just see how I'm making adjustments, and going through and getting rid of what I don't want. And again, I'm just removing the blue here because I'm on the sky mask. So I'm just removing the blue from this photo. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to click back on the color layer. We're going to use the quick selection tool, and we're going to select the ground. This one should be relatively easy, with the exception that it does select this black border here. So a quick and easy way to get rid of that, if I zoom in, let's see here, I can use the rectangular selection tool. I can hold Alt and I can start to get rid of that area. So you can see, that just makes a perfectly straight line for us. Remember, I can move it up and down to make sure I'm getting the areas that I need. There we go. So I'm using the space bar to drag that in and get that out of there. All right, so that looks pretty decent. Now we shouldn't necessarily need to do a refined edge on this one. We needed to on the first two because we had the branches included and we needed to get into those tough areas. We shouldn't have the same issue here. So I'm just gonna go right into it. I'm gonna go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, Curves. I'm going to call this, grass, or you could call it fields, whatever you're looking to call it. And then I'm going to use cyan, magenta, and yellow. So I'm going to start with cyan, and I'm going to drag cyan down and to the right. And you can start to see how it kind of adds that brownish color kind of to it. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use magenta, and I'm going to drag it up a little bit. And so just notice as I drag it up, it starts to become real red. So you have to be careful not to drag it up too much. And then I'm going to switch over to yellow. And this is really going to give it that field color there. Perfect. So I drag that just straight up a little bit. And so now I've taken this color that was this photo, that was black and white, and I've changed it to color. Now I still need to do some additional touch-ups to the trees here where I can see the blue was included way too much. So this could be something that I just delete the sky layer altogether and I start over, or I could try to use the mask to begin to edit those areas. It's up to you, whatever you think technique is best. But I'm going to go ahead and stop there. I want you guys to take some time to really make this photo look nice. And then once you're done, remember you're going to use the rest of the period to start looking at your little folk project. Now, second period, I talked about this, but first period, we didn't have time. So what you noticed in some of the examples is that students use images from the internet. And so this week we will be talking about copyright. And just to kind of get you started with how this is going to work, I'm going to go over the smallest part of this. So Creative Commons, most of you probably know this from when I covered it in computer apps, but who knows, maybe you forgot about it or maybe you've never heard of it. But Creative Commons is basically a type of license that says, hey, you can use this, but here's why you can use it or how you can use it. The reason that we have Creative Commons licensing is because, especially in today's day and age, people want to be able to put their stuff out there and they want to get recognized for it because they aren't popular or famous or, well known yet. So they may say, hey, use my photos, help me get publicity. But if you're going to use my photos, you have to do these things. So copyright tells us, that we can't do that. If we wanted to use a photo for an ad that we were creating, we would have to call up or contact that person who created that photo, and we'd have to ask them for their permission. They'd tell us how we would cite it or how we would recognize them, and then they'd probably charge us some amount of money. So again, that's going to be for copyrighted files. So what you're going to do, so let's say today, you finished your black and white photo and you're ready to start thinking about your little folk until I can get back in class and finish my lessons. So maybe you're thinking you want to be on a Ferris wheel, you want to be a small person somewhere trapped inside this Ferris wheel. So maybe you start with Ferris wheel, maybe you even put Ferris wheel bucket because specifically you want to be in the bucket of the Ferris wheel. So what you'll do is you'll search on Flickr. Flickr is free to use. You do not have to sign up for an account unless you are wanting to actually upload photos. But over here at the top left, it says any license. You're going to change that to all Creative Commons. And then it's going to pop up with images that are not under copyright. And yes, we have to abide by copyright because our images are going up on the internet and are open for the public to view. So maybe you're looking at this image and you're thinking this is exactly what you were looking for. So you click on it and you go to check to see if you can use the picture. So right here at the bottom, you click on some rights reserved. Okay, when you click on that, it's going to say you are free to share, which means copy and redistribute under the following conditions: that you give credit, that it's for a non-commercial purpose, and that you have no derivatives. So we actually can't use this because we would be remixing this in Photoshop. So we go back and we look at more photos. Now my video is about to cut out here, but hopefully you can understand this process. And if you have questions, you can email me. See you then.